Freestanding house with a 500-600 meter square block of land that is going to hold value over the next 5 to 10 years. All that they need to buy a property in Launceston with no stamp duty. So with these kind of projects, I think that can change the market in the next 5, 6, 7 years. And that's why I feel getting in now. There has been a lot of talk about Victoria, but one of the markets that has been quietly turning is Launceston in Tasmania. Launceston is one of the oldest cities in Australia, and it's the second largest city in Tasmania. It's located about 2 hours from Hobart City. Today I want to talk about why Launceston is looking like a good investment option. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jadu Srikandan. I'm a buyer's agent for property investors, and I buy properties all around the country using a data-driven approach. So if you want to work with me, then go to my website propertyframeworkbuyersagency.com.au and book a session with me there. Now today I want to talk about the city of Launceston. So essentially what I'm going to cover in this video is why Launceston is looking like a good investment option in 2025. I'm going to go through the data in Launceston, what we are seeing. I'm going to go through different suburbs, and then I'm going to finally show you some deals we have been doing and how the market conditions are in Launceston. We'll also cover things like what you need to be aware of when you're buying in Tasmania. So let's start off with why Launceston is looking like a good investment option in 2025. So let's start off with the population movement in Launceston, right? So yeah, this one is showing the population in Launceston, and as you can see here, population has been steadily increasing over the last few years. The population at the moment is sitting at 71,000, and now we want to look at economic conditions in Launceston, right? So we want to look at the gross product, where you can see here it's been since 2001 it has been increasing, which means that the economy is doing fairly well. We want to see this rising. The economy is doing fairly well. If you look at the unemployment rate in Launceston, it's very important to look at the job market. We don't want to go into an area where the unemployment rates are high. What you can see here is a gradual decline in the unemployment rates. In 2014, 2015, it was sitting at around 9.3%, and you can see that has been gradually decreasing, and now it's sitting at 4.4%, in line with the Australian averages, right? So what I'm seeing from here is that the economy is strong, the job market is good, and population growth in the region has been steady. Now, if I look at the exports in Launceston, what is the economy dependent on? It's manufacturing, healthcare, financial and insurance services, electricity, gas, water, waste services, construction, retail, trade. So essentially what we can see here is that there are many industries which are powering this economy. It's not reliant on one industry. We don't see mining, agriculture, or just manufacturing, which is predominantly standing out. It's quite diversified, which makes it a low risk investment option, right? The other thing about Launceston is that, okay, this is the map of Launceston that I have here, right? If I zoom in, I don't see any greenfield estates, even on the outskirts, right? I don't see any new properties being built. With how Launceston is located, there are also geographical constraints, right? So because there's a lot of hilly areas on both sides, and the Tama River running right through the center, there are some restrictions on the number of new properties that can be built, right? So supply is going to be an issue in Launceston because you can't just keep on expanding the area because of geographical constraints. So most likely what will happen is that there would be infill development. So we would be seeing more of apartments, townhouses being developed within the city area, right? Or within the just around Launceston. So because of that, a freestanding house with a 500-600 meter square block of land that is going to hold value over the next 5 to 10 years, because those kind of properties are going to become more and more rare. Yes, the population growth isn't accelerating. Now, we're not seeing massive population growth that we're going to see in other parts of Australia, but because there are supply constraints here, even small rises in the population could impact the housing market there and cause upward pressure, which is going to be good for investors. And the next thing that's going to impact Launceston is the first home buyer scheme and the stamp duty exemption. So with the first home buyer scheme in regional Tasmania, you can buy something with a 5% deposit starting from October 2025 for just, I think, under 550,000. You can buy a house with just a 5% deposit, right? And stamp duty has been exempted for up till 750,000, right? So someone in Launceston who is buying a 550,000 property only would need a 5% deposit of 550,000, which would come to roughly around 22 or 23,000, right? So that's all that they need to buy a property in Launceston with no stamp duty, which makes it really attractive for first home buyers, right? And what we are seeing and what we are hearing from the agents is that because this scheme is going to come in October, there are a lot of people trying to get into the market and buy properties as soon as possible, because they know that when the first home buyers come in, the property prices will start rising. So that's what we've been observing, and that's the feedback we've been getting from local agents as well, right? So it's not only Launceston, even other parts of Tasmania would be impacted by this. Now, the third thing is that there are some good infrastructure projects that are going to come into the region. So one of them is the UTAS relocation and transformation project. So this is the part of the Launceston City deal, and this relocation of the University of Tasmania's Newnham campus to Inverest is the largest infrastructure project in Launceston history, delivering transformative change to the region and an intergenerational opportunity to redefine the future of Launceston. Okay, it is anticipated that 10,000 students will be engaged within the campus by 2032, with an overall target of 16,000 students and staff. Okay, so this is a fairly big project. It says $304 million project. Part of it has already been done, but it's still ongoing. So when there are things like this happening to the university, that brings skilled workers like lecturers and support staff. Students will come into the region, and that's going to change the area in the next few years, right? The next thing is the Launceston Hospital. So you can see here, this is a $667 million initiative, and you can see it's happening over 4 stages. Stage 1, 2018-22, Stage 2, 22-24. Stage 3 and Stage 4 is where the major things are happening. Okay, that's between 24-27 and 27 and 32. There's going to be major construction projects, so new things are going to be built, and the hospital is going to be expanded, right? So this means more skilled workers again, and that's good for the region. Finally, another important point is that there's going to be the new AI factory that's coming into Launceston, right? Launceston in northern Tasmania will be home to one of the first AI factories in the country. The factory is under construction and is set to be operational in the first half of next year, so which means 2026. And this is a big project. It's about a $2 billion project, right? And this is going to generate a lot of interest in that Launceston region. Now, with these projects that are coming in, so remember that point I mentioned earlier, even small increases in the population can impact the housing market, because there's not a lot of supply available in Launceston. The housing supply is tight and there's not new supply coming in. So with these kind of projects, I think that can change the market in the next 5, 6, 7 years, right? And that's why I feel getting in now when prices are affordable under 600,000 would hold value in the long term. Let's just go through the suburbs of Launceston, right? Now this is Launceston. You can see that the Tama River runs right through the center of Launceston. The northern suburbs of Launceston, now you have areas like Mowbray here, Invermay. This is where there's a lot of university students living. Invermay is the region that's gradually going to change because the campus has been relocated here. So that's good for the region, right? And then we have areas like Newnham on top here. There are also areas like Ravenswood, Waverley. These kind of areas tend to have a bit of higher public housing, so just have to be aware of those things. And then around here is the Launceston CBD area. The south part of Launceston is kind of the more desirable area. There is areas like Summerhill. We have areas like Youngtown, Punch Bowl, Kings Meadows, Norwood. These are the parts of Launceston where the families want to live, where there's where you can still find properties just under 600,000. So freestanding houses for around 550 to 600,000. That's possible in the south part of Launceston. And there are a couple of good suburbs here too, just on the left of the river. So we have Trevelyan and also Riverside just around here, which are good owner-occupier suburbs. That's just a bit of how Launceston looks. South of this Launceston, you can find homes just around that 550 to 600. North of Launceston over here, homes are a bit more affordable. You can still find properties under 500,000, but you just got to be aware of some flooding which happens because of the Tama River around areas of Mowbray in Invermay. You got to be careful of that, and you also got to be watchful of the public housing levels, which could be higher in the northern parts of Launceston. Now let's move to the data metrics that we are seeing here. Now, if you look at the suburbs here, so the lower entry suburbs are Mayfield, Rockley, Ravenswood, Waverley, Mowbray, Invermay, where you can still find something. It says 300,000 here, but you we won't be able to find something in the 300s in this market. Properties have all moved into the 400s. Things you got to be careful about is the higher renter to owner ratio. You can see all these suburbs here, the lower price suburbs, have higher renter ratios and also have higher public housing levels. So you can see 24, 50, 28, 16%, which I will be watchful of, right? Areas like Mowbray, Invermere, yes, they've got a higher renter ratio, and that's because of the student population. So that's not a bad thing. I think that's a good thing for the region, and I think these areas of Invermere, Mowbray would change over time. They're very affordable, and they're very close to Launceston CBD as well. With the campus coming in there, I think these areas have the opportunity to change very well over time, right? Looking at the price trends here. So I'm looking at let's look at a 15-year period for Launceston. So prices have risen sharply between this 2016 to 2022 period, as you can see here. And similar to Victoria, there was a stagnation here, which happened over the last 3 years. So prices were not moving. Launceston actually went back by about 3 to 5%, depending on the suburb. And now we are starting to see a rise. This rise is very, very obvious. We're starting to see it in the market. The demand is very, very clear. There are a lot of first home buyers in the market trying to get in, and that's pushing prices upwards, right? If you look at the affordability, you can see this is at 40, but if you look at these lower price suburbs here, they're all sitting around that 28 to around that 30 years, just around that 30 years. So anything under 600,000 is very affordable to the local residents, right? It's being stretched to the high to 40 because of more expensive suburbs, but I think affordability at that 500, 600 is not a problem in Launceston, which is good for the region. We're seeing the stock on market reducing over time. As you know, stock is reducing. Days on market has been dropping over the past few months and now sitting at 30 days, which is implying very tight market conditions. If I look at the vacancy rate, it's less than 1%. So the rental market is also very, very strong in that region. So this means that properties will be immediately rented out. So in terms of the market, I also want to look at this market cycle timing metric from Suburb data. This is the new version of the DSR. So I've got the market cycle timing for Launceston. So the market cycle timing is essentially an indicator. The higher the score, the higher the probability of a new growth wave emerging, right? So as you can see here, around the 2016-17 period when Launceston was booming, the market cycle's timing score was sitting at 60. And then it dropped to 10 around 2022. But the good thing is that it's starting to recover, right? It's starting to move up. The market cycle timing has been moving up since 2022. Currently it's sitting at 30, but I expect this to move up in the coming years. So you can clearly see this is a recovering market. The market cycle timing is improving. So right now is potentially a good time to get into the Launceston property market, right? So we've looked at the suburbs. Now I want to talk about look at certain properties. Now, just to give you an idea of the market heat, right? This is another property which just sold in Mowbray, right? So 82 Clark Street in Mowbray. Mowbray is just, as we just saw in the maps, just a few kilometers from the Launceston CBD. It was listed as buyers over 439. During the first home opens, there were more than 10 or 15 groups who had come there for that property. Like a lot of first home buyers, own occupiers who want to buy this property. The property sold with a 5 in front. I don't know the exact number it sold for, but it sold with a 5 in front. So 70,000 above the asking price. So you can see the heat in the market in Launceston. Now, about 3 or 4 months ago, this same property, if you had looked at it, you probably would have got it on less than 439,000. You might have got it around 430, 425. But right now in this market, it sold for around that 500,000 or potentially even higher. Now I just want to share some properties we got for clients. So this was a property in the suburb of Riverside, right? So with this property, we see that it's a freestanding brick home. We got it for 533,000 and it rents at 470 per week at the moment, but the market rent is $500 per week. And something like this in today's market would easily be 550 or so, right? We just got it under contract about a month ago, right? So the market is continuously moving. Then we have another property, which is this one. So this one, we got it under contract for 555,000. This rents out for about 570, potentially around 570 per week. It's a double story. It's in the suburb of Mowbray. And the last one this is in the suburb of Newnham. We got this for 450,000. It rents out for, I think it's already tenanted around 460 per week or so. And in today's market, this should also easily be in the high 400s, right? right? So we've already made some money for our clients by getting into the market at the correct time. There you go. So you have some really good opportunities in Launceston. You can still buy properties under 500,000. There are good properties to be bought in that 500 to 600,000 range. Some things that you need to be aware of when you're buying in Launceston is that generally there is no cooling off period. If you do opt for a cooling off of 3 days, then your offer might not be attractive because agents don't like having a cooling off. So you sign the contracts without having a cooling off period. You can have your subject to building and pest, subject to finance clauses. That's fine. You can have that for 2 weeks. The slight difference is that with the subject to building, they have a defect limit. So it's different to the other states. So they have a defect limit which is usually around 10,000. So if the sum of the defects in your house, major, minor, it adds up to more than $10,000, then you have the opportunity to negotiate with the seller and get a price reduction or even potentially come out of the contract, right? So just be aware of that when buying properties in Launceston. So I guess that's a summary from me. I think I've covered most of the essential things in this about Launceston. I hope you found this content useful. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in my next video.